Right. And it looks like Caston finally figured out where he was going to go ahead and start doing his damage to Talia as well. Right now, she's down to half health, and she's actually recalling right now. So, yeah. But yeah, that bot lane should be really. It's going to come down to whoever can manage to gank the other lane the best. Ash just went back and she bought a Bilgewater Cutlass. Looks like she's definitely going to Blade of the Ruined King route first. Varus, he started with a longsword. There's a high chance he's about to pull something similar to that as well. We just have to wait and see what he actually comes up with.
We did see the Kassadin end up getting the blue buff, and that can honestly provide a lot of sustained ability to do the dive. When Kassadin uses his Riftwalk ability, each time he uses it, it consumes a consecutively larger amount of mana, making it so as he tries to dart around the battle, he just gets punished so hard in his mana reserves. Using a blue buff, and it seems he's going a Rod of Ages start, he's going to be able to negate that by building up this larger pool.
Right. And nothing like a nice Rod of Ages on someone who's considered kind of like an off tank, I think.
Absolutely. And Rod of Ages on him definitely provides a lot in the way of CC, or not CC, but mana, AP, and health, all of which are very nice factors for someone like a Kassadin. And that is a very good burst. That is the type of burst that Kassadin wants, with that great engage where he follows up onto a trade.
And it looks
He
like
is
they decided to
followed
try and
hard.
go ahead and take down Caston, but I think people forgot you don't really gank Caston like that. I mean, you can, but all he's going to do is just rift step out.
It's true, it's true. What you need to do for Kassadin is go in early level 6 and put a lot of pressure on him then, because unless he is wildly out of position after 6, he is very, very difficult to kill.
Right, and in all honesty, there aren't very many pursuit champions on the Legends 27 team. Some champions are perfectly fine with that, say like Akali or Quinn, where jumping to him is pretty much, it's not that difficult of a task. But with the guys that are currently on Legends 27 in terms of their character selection, I don't really see too much of that, so they have to kind of figure out a strategy where immobile champions are able to pretty much chase after and catch the most mobile champion in the game.
Okay. Yeah, that is absolutely true. And looking at top lane with this matchup of Shen versus GP, we see Shen getting a little advantage in CS, but GP is really not that far behind. As far as the builds go, we are definitely seeing expected builds from both Abami Cinder for one, being the Shen, getting that early extra tank stat in that manner, and then finally the spell.
And Ivern 1v1s Lee Sin. He gets caught out of position. Daisy decides to go ahead and ground pound him a few times, and that takes him down. All thanks to Ivern and his maneuverability around his Q. So it looks like the Legends 27, we see now, one, we see why the ban for Ivern was there to begin with. Two, we see why they picked Ivern to make sure that that the Legends 27.
There were two ults, by the way, burned by the bot lane, and that's a Gangplank ult coming in. Teleport for the red team. It is the Kassadin. He is jumping forward. Riftwalk ends up landing the Null Sphere, but Shen, who jumped in, was not able to get anything with his taunt, and they back away at the cost of teleport from Kassadin and ult from Shen, and they got nothing off of it other than some summoners.
Right, and actually, if they really wanted to, they probably could have taken that turret, now that I think about it. But now the gold count is actually being back to being even, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But yeah, they're going to have to come up with a way to actually stop this Kassadin from moving around, and what would you suggest for something like that?
What you're going to have to do for something like that is Kassadin definitely needs to get up on close with people. What you need to do is, if he gets up close with Ashe, Point blank Ash done. That is just going to be half a second right off the bat. It's not long, but it's long enough for the rest of the team to collapse and start landing things such as that root from Ivern, the root from Zyra, or, for example, Zyra's ult. Get that going underneath, and as soon as he tries to escape, it's pretty much in the process of knocking people up.
Right. And, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and look at this a little bit more. Varus goes ahead and finishes his Blade of the Ruined King. Ashe is a little bit off for hers. Chances are she will get that within the next minute. It looks like Legends 27 are going ahead and going for this Inferno Drake. But Ashe might have overstayed, and now Lulu goes ahead and takes down Ashe. Now Varus is flanking around the back. He threw down his ult, but whiffed it. And Talia is trying to salvage that situation. Lee Sin actually goes ahead and gets the buff for the red team, or for Final Light Gaming. So unfortunately, even though the Legends 27 started that dragon, it looks like that dragon will be going to Final Light. Also, we have a team fight, or we have a fight in top. Shen attempted to try and taunt Gangplank, but unfortunately, Gangplank was able to move out of the way of that.
It's true. If there's one thing I've noticed, it is that this Lee Sin is definitely trying to add this early aggression, but he's not doing it that effectively. He may be trying to gank, but he hasn't really gotten anything other than assist ones.
Right.
Ivern has gotten a little stuff, but he's gotten pressure, and his shields during trades that he provides are far more effective at keeping his laners inside the lane and able to keep up than the enemy. For example...
and Talia comes through ult, but what happened to her ult? Her ult got canceled? Or...
Yeah, she double tapped it in order to get rid of it, but she and Ivern quickly are able to take out that Shen. And then the Lee Sin, who foolishly re-engaged.
Right, that was a little odd. Also, I didn't know that would actually happen as fast as it did. Normally when Talia hops on her ult, you press ult, that procs the wall. You press ult again, she rides the wall. You press ult again, or an ability, and she typically hops off the wall. So the fact that the wall just kind of disappeared, I was like really thrown off a little bit by that. Like, that's some really fast movement on the Talia's part to make sure that happened.
Absolutely, and this Talia is playing very well. She is 2-0 currently against someone who is very potent against her in the laning phase at this point in time, and it is very impressive to see that mechanical skill. With the ult, yes, you can create the wall. Second cast ends up riding it. If you insert a movement command at the end of that, it will pull you off the wall, and if you can't press Alt once again, it will immediately destroy the wall, allowing you or your teammates to flow through it as necessary.
Right. And that's essentially using Talia's ult as a movement spell rather than a CC or zoning spell. So it's again, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for a creative person with a lot of these champions that have been coming out lately. So
with Talia, she definitely has the ability to just get so much power from the fact that her kit is made to be global in nature. She can push out waves, and if she does that successfully, she can transition that power across the map. Right now, though, Kassadin did take a very bad trade, but he is looking to see if he can continue this clear, and he's beating her in CS, even if marginally. We can check the gold values, which, unsurprisingly, he's losing, but only by about 100 gold, despite how she has 2 kills on him.
Right.
He does have those 2 assists, and that is definitely helping him out. But overall, across the map, we can see that there is a lead top lane for the Gangplank due to his passive nature and getting that extra gold from killing things with his barrels. We are seeing that the Ivern has cut out a 700 gold lead for himself, and that is probably just due to the fact that Ivern can sort of do what Ivern wants as far as camps go, and just take so many camps and get max value for it all extremely easily.
Right. And I think at this point, we might get ready to see the fall of one of the towers. It's not. I'm thinking that chances are it's going to be bot tower, and then it's going to be a nice rotation towards dragon, whatever the next dragon may in fact be. Going back a little bit to the builds, though, it looks like Varus is going to go ahead and build his. And
That's
Ivern goes
not good.
ahead.
Ivern is in trouble, and with 2 high mobility people following him, the Void Echo just cuts down his movement speed, and he falls so easily to that duo.
Right. And it looks like Talia is going to be out of position a little bit. Lulu's coming up to try and help Kassadin. It looks like he goes ahead, does a rift walk, and takes down Talia. But now Lee Sin's on his way up to try and do something about the top lane, it looks. Shen is fighting off Gangplank, and he's doing a pretty substantial job. But at this point, I don't know.
Gangplank is just having such a hard time
Ooh.
with getting through that defense that Shen is able to rush so early in the game. And as Gangplank needs far more ability-based items rather than ones that are central to his AD or crit like most ADCs, he is getting taken advantage of by the far, far more durable Shen.
Right. I'm saying now it looks like Shen is going to pound on that tower a little bit. Lee Sin went ahead and went back to his red buff, and now he's going to try and see. Chances are he's probably going to try and help someone get a tower after this. He's not necessarily going to be looking for a kill. It's going to be more of a, can we force this person out as soon as possible? But I don't know. We'll see where he decides to go after he gets this red buff and how he decides to use it. Kassadin also feeling very much empowered by. Oh, and
we see
disrupt.
a cancel of that back, which will give GP a little more time in lane to do as he pleases. The Shen doesn't want to stick around because the Shen understands that there is definitely a lot of danger right now to trying to defend tower, even if you are winning matchup, when you have less health and the enemy has full control of the lane and health.
Right. Okay, so it looks like Gangplank might be getting ready to go back to base.
Overall, we can see that Varus himself has cut out a 0.8k. He has not an 8k gold lead, that would be ridiculous, but instead he has 0.8k, which does just so much for his build. He already has his Blade of the Rune King, just like Ashe does, but with the Zeal and Double Daggers, he has more fighting potential than the Ashe does at the moment, especially since he picked up a kill as well.
Right. I was supposed to say, I thought he was initially going for Runa and Hurricane, but it looks like he's more closer towards the Phantom Dancer build than anything else. Ashe is definitely going for the Runa and Hurricane. Not really sure what the longsword is for yet, but chances are it's either going to be a Mercurial Scimitar, or not Mercurial Scimitar. It could be a Mercurial Scimitar, but I'm assuming it's going to be something along the lines of Essence Reaver, just because of...
An incredible kick by that Lee Sin puts her way out of position, and with the Kassadin burst on top of that, she just gets annihilated with so much damage in such a short period of time.
Exactly.
And that's what Kassadin can do. Like, he has barely started to scale into this mid game, but he's already able to do just as well as far as damage goes as the Lee Sin.
Right. And now I think that Kassadin is possibly going to be really difficult to actually worry about now. Not many people have too much experience playing Kassadin as of late because Kassadin is not necessarily in the meta.
Yeah, exactly.
And when a champion falls out of meta, it becomes really easy for them to all of a sudden do a lot better in situations that they might have already been. There might have been counters for Kassadin already, but no one's seen them in such a long period of time that they might have forgotten them.
first turret just falls in favor of Final Light Gaming. That's going to be quite a bit of gold under their belt, especially under their ADC's belt. He has over a 50 CS lead, and bot lane, despite how we keep